all, we're laughing because this is like the seventh time we've tried to record this, and Chris is tired of doing it.
Obviously.
Yeah, he's pretty much over it at this point.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's good stuff. Oh.
But I'm very insistent on getting our stories
And we
because
need to redo this one because it's already a failure.
it's not a failure.
It's a
I'm not
failure.
redoing it because
Yes.
this is real life. This is-
that I have to do over again.
Nope, I'm not redoing it. Not redoing it. So anyway,
Just kidding. Through like 4. Like 5.
stop laughing.
I can't help it.
Well, what time is it? It's like 11 o'clock. It's ridiculous. Like, we've done it a lot. So, I just recently got engaged. You see them nails be popping. That's my girl, Regina. She, like, hooked me up with this. Color Street. Love it. I sell these things. They're like fingernail strips.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Yes, I'm selling these things now because they're amazing. You literally just stick them on your hand and go. Like, forget painting your nails. Like, you literally put them on there and then you just file them off and then you're done. Like, you're done. Genius. But anyway, I love my ring. Yeah, so I recently got engaged. And so I told him I'd really like to do a video where we can talk about how we met, give people kind of a back history of how we got to where we are now. And so Chris has an amazing story, and anybody that knows me knows I love hearing a person's story, and I believe everybody should tell their story because we all have one to tell. And the things that we go through in life, even though they may be hard, sometimes we want to keep it to ourselves. It's really important to tell other people because it's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel for somebody else. You just never know what someone's going through. So I will start since I'm going to try not to do all the talking because it's easy for me to just kind of take over. But anyway, so I'll start off of where we started, where I met him, which was I was working in some apartments. I had just relocated from Atlanta. Eliza was probably about 14 months old. And we had just got situated in an apartment and I was offered a job. And so we were working with these vendors. They were horrible vendors. But because they were at a very discounted price, they kept using them. And so the frustration was these people don't do a great job. So every time they do something, maintenance had to go back and fix everything they did. And so I had just talked to Regina maybe a day or a week before, and I was like, why do we keep using these same people? Can't we get somebody else? And they were saying no. So Chris came in with his crew.
It's only 3 people. It's just like
Look, okay.
3.
He was rolling like 20 deep.
It was 3.
20 deep. Like,
only 3.
Okay, 3 people. But it felt like a mob of people. And so when vendors come in, they usually come in with maybe one additional person, but usually they're by themselves. So he came in and he introduced himself and he said, we're Bear and Bison resurfacing. And he said resurfacing, and I was like, oh my God, we were just talking about this. Like, we need somebody else to do this. And so I took it in there to Regina and I said, can we please try these vendors? I was like, they cannot be any worse. They can't be any worse than what we're dealing with right now. So she gave him a shot. He came in, he showed his colors, and he did an amazing job. The resident's tub that he did, she was like overjoyed. She was so impressed with like the professionalism. And so he came in and he was like, look, there's a clock in there. It fell We were spraying and we heard it fall, but because we didn't break it, but because we were there, we're just willing to go ahead and compensate her for this clock. And the resident came in and said, "Well, I only paid like $3 for this clock." So she was like, "I'm not taking it." Like they offered to give her $75. And she's like, "No." She's like, "Really, I like got that from the dollar store. I'm not gonna take that." And he was like, "Please take this." And I was impressed with the integrity. Like that stood out to me above anything. Because just in this day and time, or even in that day and time, people are not big on owning up on what they did wrong. So that stood out to me, and because she was so happy, we of course kept calling him. And in the apartment industry, once one person uses you, everybody and their mom will want to use you.
So true.
They quickly got picked up by all our other properties. So that's my version of the start. I'll let Chris give his version.
Well, about 4 years ago, it's when me and was my brother and then one other guy. We all started it up going. Actually, honestly, it was just me and my brother at the very beginning. And then, but one of our first sales was with Lacresha here. Like we, after a couple weeks of us getting our stuff together, getting our materials and stuff, decided to go out and start selling, trying to get this thing up and going. So, and I have no sales experience. Brother didn't. Chris Hall didn't. Um, and we just started to, as she said, we mobbed her. Like, hey, what's going on?
Chris was leading the pack.
Yes,
Like he
yes.
came in strong and confident.
But we, it was easy to sell when I knew the guys could pull it off. I just needed to get the sale. But after the first one, so of course she said yes, and everything turned out great. And after that, boom, we had some other properties. So I mean, it was, and then from then on, we just every time she needed anything, we were there. And we honestly weren't. We each were doing our own thing at the time, and we were just business friends at that point.
Yeah. There's no interest. I thought I used to call him like my bottle of sunshine because he always came in smiling, always had a great attitude. He always had very positive vibrations with him. So it was like I knew it was going to always be like very cordial, very professional. Um, yeah. So, so what he's not saying here is that yeah, we were his first sale. Like we had no idea. Like he had never not done that before. Like I thought he had been in business for years, but the way he presented himself, like I just naturally assumed that, oh, he's a professional. He's been doing it forever. Not saying he wasn't professional, but it just seemed like he had been doing it for like years upon years. And so it was like a couple of years later we were talking about it. Like I was talking and asking some random questions like, well, how'd your business get started and who was your first sale?
And
so
she interviewed me.
Yeah.
That's what she did.
I did interview him. Literally did an interview with him because he just seemed like pretty intriguing as far as business goes. And I wanted to know more about him because I knew if there's something that you want to do, you need to surround yourself around with more people who are doing what you want to do. And I had had a business previously when I was in Atlanta, but when I came back to Oklahoma, I had to go get a regular job because I had my baby girl. I got an apartment and I did that on faith because I didn't have a job. And so, I mean, it was just one of those things where you're just like, you do what you have to do. And as you take steps forward, the doors that you need to open start to open. So, but anyway, give them a little back history of what was going on in your life. This is what was interesting to me about his story, because like he said, he didn't have the experience before, and he also he didn't know anything about resurfacing. Yet he sold me. I mean, yes, there's a whole theory of like we were hurting for a new vendor, but his presentation was amazing. It was flawless. Like seriously, I had no idea. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, she's saying it all right now, but
well, just with the whole you're leaving your the job that you had to
oh
just
yeah, I
step
would
out.
just one day I heard was my brother, and then Terry is also an owner now too. And they were just discussing one day and just talking about how much they were making, and well, at the time they were just struggling. My brother was struggling. Terry was doing something else at the time, and they just were talking about how he made this person so much money, and he wasn't getting paid like for 3 weeks or whatever, and stuff like that. So I just decided, okay, I was just listening in, and I was like, fine. So I went and decided to run the numbers myself, and try to look up and see what it's all about. And I kind of knew what it was because of my brother and Terry. Like they've been doing it for a while now. At that point, like years, and I was like, okay, well, let me look something up. Just and then seriously, it was like the next day. I was like, hey, why don't we do this ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
And me, it's only because everywhere I've worked, I've always improved the job.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere I've ever worked. And I've worked many jobs. I've worked probably like 5 jobs my whole life. And that's because I stick around. I've had good jobs. I've been able to move up the ladder, and just every time I've just improved something. So I was like, oh, I'll just do that for myself.
Yeah.
Like, who better than work for yourself?
Right. Right.
So I was putting in a lot of hours for them. I was just like, I can put that hours easy for me. And so that's where it just clicked and changed. I was like, all right, let's give this a shot, And they were like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, you in or out? They said they were in, so there we went off.
Yeah. And I mean, again, what he's not telling you is that he had a pretty good paying job. Like most people would have stayed and kept comfortable, kept their 401k, thinking like, oh, I got a family. I can't take that risk. Maybe I'll try to do it on the side or whatever. He just took the plunge and he just went in full force. Like he did his research. Don't get me wrong. Did his research and then he took the proper steps. And so he told me he had, and this is why I interviewed him. Again, I find it intriguing, but he said he cashed in all his 401k, and he went and ordered all the supplies he needed. He left his job on a Friday, and on that Monday, was it that Monday?
No, it was the Monday after.
It was the following Monday. So it was like a week.
Got to get all the materials in.
Yeah, so he waited for the materials to come in, which again is the leap of faith when you think about it. But
and then I had to get the forms written down and everything. Just that week, I had to get it done.
And this is somebody that hasn't had a sale yet. You know what I mean? But anyway, amazing to me. And so he ordered all that, and then that following Monday he came in and he got his first sale. And following that, within a month, he had 7 properties. And then it just really grew from there. He's like the number one property or number one resurfacing guy in Tulsa. Mm-hmm. Like number one. If you look him up, Baron Bison Resurfacing, he's number one in Tulsa. He's booking his jobs like 3 or 4 weeks out. So, yeah, I was impressed with that because I was like, wow, and he had all the odds against him. He had people telling him, you're crazy. I can't believe you're quitting your job. Like, people that you think were going to be supporting you were telling him like, I can't believe you're doing this. This is dumb. And so he did it anyway, which again, when I heard this story, it inspired me because sometimes, I mean, we all go through this where you feel like people are telling you, stay comfortable. Don't take that risk. Do what's safe.
And 4 months into it, actually, I was going through a divorce.
Yeah. So he was also going through a personal thing with the divorce. And we can all use reasons to just say, well, because of this, I just need to wait. And I mean, we just had a conversation about this not too long ago about my mindset, and how we both grew up and like how both our mindsets got to where they are today. And it was inspiring to me because he found the strength within himself. I had to borrow inspiration from other people. So I have a lot of friends and family in Atlanta. I have a lot of family that has become friends. 5 people in particular that really stuck with me and helped me to become the woman that I am.
And she meant friends that became family, by the way.
Oh, what did I say?
Family that became friends.
Y'all know what I meant. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. But yes, that's what I meant. And they did. Still friends to this day, and it was a journey. But like I said, my mindset, I came from a place or an environment where you were struggling and you were trying to survive, and it was like that's not where you wanted to be, but it was like hitting a brick wall because you want to do better, but it's not knowing how am I going to get out of this situation? How do I do better? And you don't have anybody around you doing better. You have everybody around you surviving. And so for me, I used to like read, I mean, I still do, but I used to check out books for autobiographies and listen to inspirational speakers because I was like, how did these people go through this situation of like being in the worst of the worst situation and now they're like on top? They're living the life that they really want. And so for me, which is what I was telling Chris, I was like, when it came to working, my jobs sucked. And I didn't think in the terms of like, let me get a better job or get a higher paying job. I just said, I just need a job. And so I stayed in that cycle of like, I just got to get to the next paycheck. And it kept me in a poor mindset until I made a radical change, it shifted my whole life. But I'm getting ahead. um, yeah, so his story like really inspired me because at the time I was getting ready to take a trip to Peru, and my job, which again was a big leap of faith because I had Eliza. She was only, I think, 2 or maybe 3 at the time. I had my apartment, a car, I had all those bills, and I was like, I really felt like God was telling me to take this mission trip to Peru. And I was like, whenever I feel like that, I have to do it because I know there are people that I'm meant to meet, people, I mean, things that I'm meant to learn, and there's something that's in me that needs to be unlocked, and it's only going to unlock when I take that leap of faith and do something like that. And so I said, I had to go in there and tell my managers because I was like, I really felt like God told me to take this trip, and it was a big ordeal. They didn't want me to go, and it's not that they didn't want me to go personally, but it was just like because of what was going on. It was the busiest season, and so they literally had to take a vote. People in the corporate office had to all agree. Everybody had to agree. And I told my manager at the time, I said, or my regional, I said, I'm not being disrespectful. I understand that this is a business and this is about making money. And so I was like, but I know God has told me to do this. And because he said that, if you guys cannot give me the time off, I'm going to go ahead and put in my notice. And I was like, because I have to do what God has called me to do. It's just that simple. And the regional, she looked at me and she said, I understand. She was, and who knows what she was really thinking, but she was professional about it. But I was speaking from my heart, and I don't regret that. To this day, I don't regret it. It was scary, yes, because I could have lost my job. But I was like, if he's called me, that means he's going to take care of me. Anyway, that situation worked out. They let me go. And so anyway, fast forward or rewind a little bit. I hadn't talked to Chris after I met him that day. I hadn't talked to him for like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. I can't remember exactly. And so when he came in, I was like, hey, I had just gotten promoted to an assistant manager. And so I said, hey, like, how are you? It was really nice to see him again. Came in smiling, happy, sunshine. And so he's like, oh, we're doing well, blah, blah, blah. And for whatever reason, I never asked him about his family. I never, ever once asked him about his family. But for some reason this day, I said, well, how's your family doing? And that's when he told me, it's like, going through a divorce. And I was like, I'm so sorry to hear that, I was caught off guard a little bit. And so I tried to shift the conversation. But then, like, from there, we just kind of started talking and kind of kept in touch. So I'll let you.
Well,
I try not to tell his story, but it's so hard because.
Okay. After that, she says it. We went on a date. Me, I was just being friendly. She already interviewed me once. I just enjoyed talking to her.
Well, that was before the interview, though.
No,
that was it was because you came in the office. You told me you were getting a divorce, and then I was getting ready to go to Peru. I had gotten approved, and I said, or when I got back. No, that was after I got back.
It was after you got back. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So it was after you got back when you asked me for the interview.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was very uncomfortable. I was not used to that. I've gotten a lot used to it now because a lot of people ask me questions now about business stuff. But that was like one of the first. That was the first time someone actually sat down and was like, "Oh, hey, so I want to know more about you and your business. So I was like, okay. And as she puts it, I was very squirmy. Was very, like I said,
Very,
just very, just
very
very
physically uncomfortable. He like literally
Like
kept
knowledge wise, I
shifting.
was there. I was on point. But as in like physical wise, no, I guess I was all fidgety and
Yeah, he was like doing like this and like moving his hand. Like he was so uncomfortable at the thought of, or like honestly at me just asking these questions. And I was like, why are you fidgeting so much? Like, am I saying something wrong? He was like, no, I'm just not used to people wanting to know this stuff. Like, usually people only want to talk. They don't, or they only want me to listen. They don't really want me to talk. And so he was like, nobody's ever asked me these questions. And so yeah, as we got to talking and he told me his story, I was like, that's amazing. I was completely inspired by it. Um,
yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a big talker.
you can see
I'm really good at answering questions. Really good at feedback. But as
Slide with the gift. What can I say?
the long-windedness, I don't have that. That's just not me. I get to the
Yeah.
point and I'm good.
Yeah, you just ask him a question and he just gives you the answer.
Yeah, I'm an A to B kind of guy.
So, yeah. So anyway, from there, I went ahead and went to Peru. I was gone for 2 weeks, came back, and then I seen him again, and I had actually got a job offer at my daughter's school, which I had to turn down. It just wasn't a good fit for me. But I was telling him at the time I thought I was getting ready to take it. And so I was like, hey, I'm getting ready to probably leave this job. And so I just wanted to let you know I didn't want you to come and I'd just be gone. And so he was like, well, if I would love to keep in contact with you,
Yeah.
And so, but while we were at the interview, his dad literally calls me the interviewer or the integrator.
Interrogator.
Interrogator. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Because I did the same thing to his dad.
And anybody else.
But while we were there, it was all friendly for me. And then it changed from friendly to like this. It feels like there's a little bit of chemistry here that I wasn't sure. And so I had told him we had got to talking about our kids and my niece, who was basically living with me at the time. And so, like, every weekend, she and Eliza, we would all go and do something. And so I was saying, I got to figure out something for them to do. And
yeah, I was like, hey, you know what? Taste Summer's coming up. Which is, by the way, it's like $5. All you need free ice cream. I figured, why not? Kids,
yeah,
free ice cream. Like
Sugar
we already had a good conversation, so let's keep going with the good conversation.
Yeah.
Which she thought I asked her on a date. So I was.
Well, no, that's not what made me think we were on a date. Okay, so when he invited me, I was like, that'd be awesome. Eliza will love that. Kaylin would like that. And so I just said, okay. And so he said, I have a daughter about Eliza's age.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, but she's with her mom this week. But I might be able to bring her. So, we can meet you up there. And so I was like, well, that'll be fun, like a play date for Eliza. And I was like, and then, my niece will be there. So she might not think it's as cool, but it'll be fun. And so he was like, okay. And so he texted me later. Okay, this is where it shifted for me. He texted me later and was like, well, my daughter's not going to be able to go because she's going with her mom. And so I thought he wasn't going to go, just kind of give me that heads up. But he replied and was like, but if you still want me to come, I can meet you there. And that's when I was like,
Oh, well, I thought I was like, I invited her. Might as well, I need to go. But I guess it can be taken other ways.
Whatever. So when I seen that text, I had told Kaylin, I was like, hey, so we're gonna go to this ice cream thing. I was like, I'm meeting a friend there, and of course, Kaylin was like, friend. But I told her, I was like, I think, it might be something there. I was like, I think we might start dating. I said, I can't quite tell. I'm trying to get a read on it. And so, yeah. So we met him up there. Kaylin loved him. She thought he was a really nice guy. I could tell immediately that he was a protector. Eliza had kind of walked ahead and he literally jumped up for it. Like he's blocking somebody, And so that immediately told me a lot about him and his character, more about his character anyway. And so after that, then we just kind of started keeping in contact, like basically kind of texting, and it kind of took off from there.
Well, what she doesn't tell you is after the Taste of Summer, we went swimming.
Oh yeah, I always forget that part.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main detail.
So we go swimming. Also, we go to her mom's pool, I believe. And then it's funny because her stepdad comes out. And seriously, I want to say like one word to this guy.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Hello. And he says hi, and that's it. That's our conversation. She can tell you what he said after that.
Yeah, so like you said, my pool was down for cleaning, and so I would never hear the end of it if I told Eliza we're going swimming and we don't go. It would just be never ending. So we went over to my mom's, and so I went to go change clothes, or I had to go use the bathroom. And so I told my stepdad, I said, hey, I got a friend out there at the pool if you guys want to come and meet him. And first of all, they were like, him. People that know, I don't just date anybody. I have long periods of time of not dating. Just, it's easier, especially when you have a kid, not having people come in and out your life like that. You have to guard them. And so I said, yeah. And I just let them know, I was like, he's white. Not that it's really a big deal. My family could care less if they're black, white, yellow, green. But I gave them a heads up. And so my mom was like, oh, so I'm going to have some mixed grandbabies. I was like, ain't nobody said nothing about babies. I was like.
And now we have faith.
Yeah, so, fast forward, there is faith. So maybe she's got that the gift, whatever. But anyway, so Larry comes out because he loves hanging with Eliza. That's like his buddy. And so he sees Chris, and I said, Chris, this is my stepdad, Larry. Larry, this is Chris. And he literally just says, hey, how you doing? And he says it back, hey, how you doing? And so it was like a couple of days later. And Larry doesn't say anything about anybody I've ever dated. I've known him for pretty much my whole, from my teenage years. I would say I think I was about 11 or 12. And I'm 39 now. And he's never commented on any of them. And so, like I said, he said hello. And so he was like, that guy you brought out there, he's like, that's a good guy. That's a good man. And I was like, you ain't even talked to him. Like, how you know he's a good man? You like literally said hello. I don't get this. He's like, you don't need to have a whole conversation. He's like, I'm a man, and a man knows if it's a good man or if that's not any good. And he was like, that's why I've never said anything about anybody else you ever mentioned. But he was like, that one there is a good man. So I was like, okay. So that was like a sign of like, yeah, that needs to, let's see where this goes, basically.
Yeah.
So that is the basic story of like how we met and how we started dating, and where we are headed in the future. Of course, as I said before, we're getting married. Very excited about that. We do life together, and I love that. Like, we have the best conversations. We've spent a lot of time where we're just hanging out. There's no TV. It's just like we're talking, like having in-depth conversation, dissecting things. Maybe there's been an issue with something, and just really getting to the root of it and just figuring out how we can be better as a couple, how we can be better parents, better friends. And so it's always like that root of like knowing that the person you're with is helping you to be the best version of yourself. And so
That's true.
I love that about him. I love that about us and as a family. And so, yeah, do you want to tell him? Or should I just, okay. So so that is our story. And
I don't know what else I was supposed to
yeah,
say.
I was going to add more, but we're good where we're at. So
Okay.
that is the story of Chris and Lacresha.
Like the beginning, at least.
The beginning. That is the beginning. That is the beginning. Thank you. All right. Bye.
Take care.